This is actually the inverse of the quadratic, so our graphs are like half parabolas. So when we graph this, the vertex is at 0, 0. And if you guys remember, domain is input. The lowest value that we can take the square root of is 0. So our domain is going to kick off with 0. And then we can take the square root of any positive number. You're not going to have any negative that you're going to take a square root from because we're using the real number system for the coordinate grid. Your range is also going to be from 0 to all positive numbers. And remember, if something goes through the origin, that serves double duty. That's also your x and y intercept. So here's the pattern that will save you so much time, guys. Remember, x values are inputs, y values are outputs. And what we're doing is we're putting inputs in here that are perfect squares because we want nice, clean whole numbers for ordered pairs. So when I put in 0, I get an output of 0 because the square root of 0 is 0. Then the same with 1. 1 is a perfect square, and when we take the square root of that, it's 1 also. So after that, I'm going to skip down to 4 because 4 is perfect. The square root of that is 2. And then, of course, I could do 9 and get an output of 3, and so on and so forth, as long as you're using perfect squares. All right, one more thing before we begin. Square root functions always have a starting place, and they are always going to go to the right. So our starting place is right here at 0, 0. And guys, we're just going to graph these ordered pairs of 1, 1, 4, 2, and 9, 3. And you're going to see it take place, the shape of it going over to the right side of your paper. So after you plot all the points, just go ahead and connect. And then don't forget your arrow at the end. And remember, that is a parabola on its side, half a parabola on its side. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens when we reflect the parent function. So it's still going to go through 0, 0. Remember, your domain, your input, you still need positive values. So your input is going to be 0 to infinity. However, for your range, this graph is going to get flipped upside down because of that negative sign. That's a vertical reflection. All of your outputs are going to be negative because we have this negative right here next to the symbol. So remember, your input of 0, 1, 4, 9, these values are going to have negatives next to them. So negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Of course, the first one is 0, 0. When you have a reflection, your range always starts with negative infinity. Your range gets flipped also. So the highest value for my range is going to be 0. And the x and y intercepts stay the same. So again, it starts at 0, 0, but it's going to be underneath the x-axis. So positive 1 and negative 1, and of course these ordered pairs right here. So you can kind of see how the arch is reflected upside down.